This is my final lab for my college computer programming class. For this lab, we were supposed to create or simulate a factory process with our Arduino kit. For this process, I chose to have a force sensitive resistor, a water level, which is over here in the cup, and a temperature sensor over here to simulate the processes that they go through, the LEDs to kind of the stop and go of the process, and a motor over here, which is this one right here, hooked up, and a PIR sensor, which is over here in this, that is supposed to detect the stock as it goes by. Currently, I ran into some issues. This is the final day to submit it, so I have to submit it. But these are the issues that I'm kind of running with right now. It's currently on. We'll see if I can get it actually running. So when force is applied, yep, it turns green. The motor comes on, and then it goes back red, and then it goes back through the process. So when force is applied to this input, the green light comes on, the motor comes on, running the belt and pushing the part through as needs to. And the same thing with this again, if I can get it going. Yep, you gotta get the motor going. There we go. So the same thing happens with the water. I have a crappy sensor for the water, so it may not go. We'll see what happens. Get close. All right. And currently now it's running on its own. I can't tell what's causing it to currently run, but this has been happening. So we'll go over here to my code next. It has to be with the reading. Let me unhook that. It has to deal with the reading, and so we'll come over here to the computer, and you can watch the serial monitor. And I have it to where every second that it prints out the code, so these codes are slightly old. Currently it's reading the force at 16, and I haven't figured out why. I don't know if it's the sensor or what, but it jumps around, and it doesn't matter what I do. You can see it was 16 to 15, and I have not touched it. The water level is currently at 132. It's been degraded, so it doesn't reach to the value that I put in. And the sensor, as you can see, reads, let's see if I can get the sensor to actually read the temperature. There we go. So I was able to get it to raise 6 degrees or 5 degrees. Oh, there we go. More than that, actually. And so my sensors are working. They're not the best, and they are currently just doing their own thing, mainly for force right now. For stock, I have it connected to my PIR input, so whenever it's high, and it should add 1 to stock. The problem is that whenever I do it, the number will jump exponentially because it doesn't know when to stop, and I haven't figured out an answer for that. See if I can get it to go here. It's not even reading anymore, so there's that. So stock's kind of working, kind of not. It jumped that high, and then now it's kind of doing what it's supposed to where every time my hand goes in front of it, it'll count one. But it's not, none of this is precise, which is what it needs to be for factory setting. So we'll get rid of the serial monitor and I'll show you my code. So up here at the top we have our, define where we include our temperature sensor. This is including the libraries and everything for it to set it up to get ready to read. We set up our pins over here for our belt, for our conveyor belt, our green LED or red LED, and then our analogs for the force sensitive resistor under press, the PIR pin or motion sensor for 3, and we up here we set 0 as the temperature sensor pin as well. And then you go further down, we set it low so that when it does read it, it'll read high later down in the code. And stock starts off at 0 here. Here we count the seconds so that we can print off the, where do I have it? Yeah, print off right here, so it'll count and then it'll print off and read this code for the PIR state, or for the motion sensor. So coming down, we'll come down here, we set our inputs and outputs, and then we come down here and we set our reads, our analog pins, so that we have a reading from them for value for, or val is for the, oh man, I can't even, value, what was A1? Oh yeah, value is for the water level, my bad. So value is for the water level, it reads it, level maps it out, gives it a range and scope right here. Temp reads the temperature on A1, force reads the force that's supplied to the press pin, so the force sensitive resistor pin. Current millis starts the count and saves it. And then read temperature if it's true. This basically just turns it into reading into Fahrenheit instead of Celsius, because it reads by Celsius by default. And then PIR state equals, we're just tying digital read, so the pin reading of the PIR pin to stat, PIR stat, so that when it reads high or low, it'll actually push it out. Then we come down here to our other code, our if. So if the temperature reads greater than 80 degrees, it will run this code. So it'll turn the green belt on, it'll turn the green light on, red light low, and it'll run that motor. It'll do that for 4 seconds, and then it'll turn it all off and turn the red light high so that it tells you this process has stopped. And then we come down for our interval, I set it up to every 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds up here. So every 1000 milliseconds is supposed to print, and then it's supposed to read the PIR, if the PIR is high or not, and then add 1 to stock, and then it's supposed to, I was hoping this would read PIR stat low, but it doesn't. And then at the end of it all, it was supposed to serial print the stock number. And we set it outside of this second so that it prints immediately. The problem is it's not doing that, and I don't know if it's because I haven't calibrated the sensors properly, or I haven't been able to find out, but they kind of jump. So basically we just get, nothing's currently happening. We'll pull up it's still going on. It's still just blinking right now. I'm not sure why. And I'll just go to serial monitor. Yeah. So we have our force at 8 or stock at 0, and then we come down here, and the current reason why is because our force is set at 6, and we'll try 9. Go ahead and upload. So currently, with it still reading below 9, it is not the force sensitive resistor. And so yeah, that is kind of the reason or what's going on now. I haven't been able to find the issue, but this is my project. This is what it's supposed to do. It was supposed to, in the process, it was supposed to monitor the FSR, the water level, and the temperature. And if the temperature rose, then the process would stop and push it on to the next process, which would then fill up or do whatever it needed to with the water. And then once that was met, they would push it along to the process of press, whatever it would needed to press onto it. And then at the end, as it come through, it was supposed to run by the PIR motion detector and then count the stock as it goes by. It currently does not do any of that, and I could not get it to work exactly or read exactly how I wanted. But this is the code for my final project, and I hope I don't fail. Thanks for watching.